So you got your CT90 and you love it. You want to have a little storage on the back, but a milk crate's not going to cut it. Let me show you how to build something that's going to power your phone, power your auxiliary lights, and look super cool. Let's go. For the ultimate luggage on your Honda CT90, what you want to look for is 1980 to 1983 Honda Goldwing. So Goldwing GL 1100 trunk. Get on your Kijijis, your Craigslist, your Facebooks. The search shouldn't be too long and hard. There's a lot of Goldwings being parted out there. This is what I found. All right, here's my Kijiji find. Paint matched even, perfect. Lots of storage inside. It's got locks on the latches as well as locks underneath that you can disengage. The entire case came with the light bar, antenna mount, wire for the antenna. But I think when it comes down to it, we're gonna end up chopping off most of this metal and just utilizing this piece here so that we can weld that into the CT90 and we'll be able to quick release this entire luggage package right off the bike. So what we're looking to do is cut up this and then mount it to this. And I believe I'm gonna be able to do that using this and then putting these on to make it look like this. I'll show you. So for demonstration purposes, I put the rack on upside down just to show you. The U-bolt will go over both of them. We're gonna have this plate on the bottom locked in, and then using a lock washer and a nut, we're gonna tighten that right up so that this is compressed on 4 points. So before we can mount this, onto that, we gotta modify this. How we're gonna modify it is with a grinder and a cutting blade. We're gonna be taking off this pipe right where it connects to the main here. And we're also gonna be cutting off this excess forward at approximately the bend in front of the loop on the top of the rack. On the back of the rack, you'll notice these locking mechanisms. These are what's gonna lock your luggage to the rack itself. But this one here used to be for a CB antenna. But as you can see, it sticks down quite a bit. We're gonna be taking that grinder and cutting these guys off as well, right down the seam. Alrighty, got a nice new blade on my grinder. Safety glasses are on. And we're gonna be cutting right through here, nice and clean, right through here on this holder on both sides, and then again, right where the bend occurs on that main bar. Let's get this cut. That's two. All right. So when you're making your cuts on the pipes here at the very end, you want to be really precise, get a measuring tape, measure out exactly where that bend is. You don't want to just start cutting all erratically, not actually mark where you want it to be cut, because you never know what's going to happen. Always want to measure twice, be precise. That's the one we need. And this is what we're left with. Not too shabby. I'm going to clean these up a bit more with a file, but I just want to dry fit it and see how it sits on the rack. Now I've already removed this bar from a previous project I tried, so that's out of the way. So we're going to be using those U-bolts to lock this down into this frame on a few points, but I'm thinking in the back, we might have a bit of an issue. This bar is blocking the locks. So I'm thinking, I know, don't cringe, I might cut this bumper off on the sides to remove this whole piece and just leave this one here. And once the luggage is on top and sitting on it, you're not really gonna see any of this frame at all, but I would like have something solid to tie to in case I ever have to, tow a car out of the ditch or something, so keep that in mind. All right, happy little surprise here. When I went and grabbed the bumper and put it in place, it pivots the bars. And then when you come to the back and lock it down, there's the key spot. So for all you CT90 fans, I'm talking to you, Ed March. Don't worry, we're not gonna cut her up. So if we look at the racks, we can see that there is a bend in this one here that slopes up, and that's accentuated by the fact that these little holders for the bumper go in underneath. So what I'm doing is, you could cut a custom piece of square tubing and fit it underneath and close off the ends and drill it and it'd be all great, but I'm gonna take the easy way and I'm just gonna put a stack of washers in there. Yeah, it's gonna work, just wait. So we're gonna use this drill bit here to make our hole all the way through and then all the way through the base plate, and that's gonna lock these two guys together. Let's get this done. All right, so we got our hole drilled through the rack, we got our bolt going through the washers, and then it exit out the bottom here, and we could put in a nut and a lock washer, and that's gonna keep the back nice and straight and sturdy. We're also gonna be putting on these U-bolts, 4 of them, 2 on each side, and we're gonna lock this thing right down. We're gonna use these wire covers. We're gonna get an oversized black, and we're gonna shoot that over top of this piece of plastic, and as well putting one at the end of this U-bolt. And what that's gonna give us is a lot of extra grip so that when we mount it onto the bike, you got a nice little piece of rubber between the metal so it's not gonna slide or shift. So once you get them over top of your metal, you're just gonna take your lighter, melt them down a bit, and they'll tighten right up. And after a little heat, it should be looking something more like this and like this. We're gonna poke a couple holes for our screws to go through, and then we're gonna put our nuts and lock washers on the base of this and get it mounted on the other side. All right, we got our luggage rack and luggage mounted onto the bike. Lots of storage room in here. I took this lock off, brought it to a local locksmith, and he is going to make me a set of keys so that I can lock this up when I'm on the road. I'm also thinking, these lights in the back, they cannot be powered by the bike. The bike's a 6-volt system. It can barely handle itself, let alone adding on an extra load with these lights. So I'm going to put a 6 or 12-volt battery in the luggage itself, put a switch through the front here, and then I'll be able to turn these lights on for when I'm driving at night. And also, I'm gonna utilize this space here and here where the old little luggage bags used to mount on, and I'm gonna put 2 LED lights. That way when you're riding at night, you don't have to rely on the very dim headlight these bikes have, but I'll also have some auxiliary lights so I'll be able to be seen on the road as well. If you're ever doing any bush riding through the forest, you'll be able to find your way out and keep an eye out for bears. Well, after finding the coolest rocker switch I could, complete with custom carbon fiber cover, I picked my battery, got a 12-volt, 7.2 amp hour. That's tons of power to charge my phone and run the LEDs. These are the LEDs I got from Canadian Tire, pretty basic, little tin mounts for them to go onto. We're gonna take those, we're gonna bolt them into the original luggage mounts, and then these guys here go right in to the pre-existing holes there. We can bolt them down and wire them through the center of them. I think it's gonna look really good, and that'll be a nice solid mount to have on there. Got the stickers off, got the hole drilled for the wire, got the Dremel on those edges to smooth them out a bit. Gonna give them a little with the spray. Gonna use a semi-gloss today. While we're waiting for those light mounts to dry, I drilled my hole and installed my carbon fiber light switch. Now why I really like this one was, one, it looks cool, but two, this cover will help protect that switch from going by bushes or branches or anything. It's not gonna accidentally turn on the light or rip the switch off. Nice cover, flick it on, flick it off. Awesome. And we got our light mounts done. Gave them a coat of paint, drilled the hole through the center for the wire to mount them, and we're ready to put them on the box. Alrighty, just installing the lights, drilled a hole through the back and the center for the wire. Got the first one put in already. A little bit of a tilting on it, I like that. Get her down to the road. Let's get the second one installed. Can't wait to get the wiring done. So because I didn't use the mount that came with the lights to install them, I figured I'd use them for a different purpose. I drilled out some holes in the arms, made them a little bit bigger, and then sliced them off. And putting them in the back of the trunk underneath existing bolts. And when you fish your wires through up and around, you could use that metal tab to act as a holder to hold the wires in the bundle out of the way. So it's as easy as taking a pair of scissors, cutting the tab off after drilling the hole out a bit bigger. Then you just put it in your existing bolt, use your original nut, and bend as needed. All right, just for some contrast, this is what the bike looks like in the dark factory. Headlight and the tail light. With the flick of the switch, that's how visible the bike is now. Really happy with how this all came out. I added another accessory here on the handlebars. Put on a USB charger. It's got the digital readout on top so you can see what your battery health is doing. And I love the fact that it has this kill switch on it so you don't have to leave it on while the bike's off or not in use. Just wired that down, brought it all the way back to the trunk, hooked it up with a fuse and brought it to the main battery. Now there's just one more accessory I'm thinking about putting on this. I'm gonna leave it to you guys to vote, yes or no. Should I add on this chrome rack? I think it could be really helpful for stacking stuff on and strapping down for camping trips, but at the same time, it's kind of a cool factor to have in that flat top. Leave it in the comments below. In a week, I'll take a total and we'll see if we're gonna leave this rack on or if she's gonna stay off. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.